How objectively intelligent is US President Donald Trump? To find out, I'll be using the modern gold standard of intelligence testing, the WAIS, or the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale. The WAIS measures human intellect across 4 main indices: verbal comprehension, perceptual reasoning, working memory, and processing speed. By estimating Trump's performance in each domain, I can derive a final composite IQ, a single number representing his overall cognitive ability. Verbal comprehension. This index measures a person's ability to understand, use, and think with words, reason abstractly with language, and express knowledge acquired from their environment. Linguistic analysts have studied and noted that Trump's working vocabulary range and grammar is simpler than any other US president since Herbert Hoover, meaning he uses the fewest unique words out of any modern American president. Linguist Jeffrey Pullum describes Trump's speech as disordered language with, quote, scattered thoughts, which suggests he is no linguistic genius. However, he did graduate with an economics degree from Wharton in 1968, which requires at least an average range of verbal intelligence in order to produce and complete academically strong essays and exams. And psychologist Howard Gardner notes he has, quote, enough linguistic intelligence to speak with reasonable coherence for hours. We also should keep in mind that the simple linguistic style is likely intentionally used as a mass appeal campaign strategy, and older Trump interviews highlight his actual levels of verbal fluency and articulation, so it's unreasonable to assume that he's verbally below average based on campaign rhetoric. The evidence points to Trump being in the 115 VCI range, meaning he is not a verbal maestro like some other presidents, but he is also well above the population average. Perceptual reasoning. This domain tests non-verbal and abstract reasoning, pattern detection, and spatial organization. Trump's life work in real estate, architectural projects, and aesthetic branding requires spatial reasoning and pattern sense. He's shown repeated capacity to visualize large-scale developments, judge leverage, and negotiate structural relationships related to his business ambitions. Trump transferred from Fordham to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania in the mid-1960s, which is an Ivy League business school. Although it may sound impressive, at that time, Wharton accepted more than 50% of applicants, and transfer students like Trump had an even higher acceptance rate. James Nolan, a former admissions officer, later described the process as being, quote, not very difficult, and he was not struck, quote, by any sense that I'm sitting before a genius, when recalling his memories of Donald. But of course, these more negative testimonies may be politically motivated. Also, Nolan claimed that Trump's brother Fred Jr., a longtime friend of his, had a hand in arranging Donald's interview approval, and Donald's father also played a role in his acceptance. Trump's academic record was not exceptional. He was never on the dean's list, was not among the top 15% of students for a fact, though we can assume he did at least fairly well to graduate. The data suggests that while he had opportunity and support, Trump operated in a cognitively demanding environment and repeatedly succeeded in domains requiring non-verbal insight. He falls into the 115 PRI range. Working memory. Working memory is like the brain's RAM, the capacity to hold and manipulate multiple pieces of information while performing tasks. In his public life, Trump has shown the ability to juggle multiple issues, recall prior statements in debates, and manage negotiation threads across time. That indicates at least an above-average working memory capacity. However, many of his aides, classmates, and staff have described his impatience with long memos, refusal to read detailed reports, and tendency to switch topics quickly when attention lags. His conversational pattern often jumps mid-thought. This suggests his working memory endurance and precision may not be elite. Given this, I'll place his WMI in the 110 range, reasonably strong, though not disproportionately high compared to his other strengths. Processing speed. Processing speed measures how quickly one can perceive, interpret, and respond to information. Trump's speech is fast, reactive, and his decisions often appear instant. His social media fluency, debating skills, and long history with high-pressure business negotiations show rapid activation and high mental bandwidth. Although likely above average in this domain, there is a lack of evidence to suggest he is gifted in this category, and much of his swift reasoning can be interpreted as superficial, especially as he leans more on intuition intuition rather than analysis. He is likely in the 105 to 110 range, so I'll place him at a 108 PSI. Processing speed is the IQ index that declines more noticeably with age, so he's likely around the 100 range as of now, but I am judging his general adulthood cognitive ceiling. If you put him in a room with other billionaires, he is unlikely to be the smartest there in terms of raw IQ, but he is still in the bright range of the IQ distribution. Using the precise WAIS IQ index weighting calculator, Donald Trump's composite IQ score is estimated to be 113, plus or minus 3 points, which means he's in the 80th percentile for IQ, or the top 20% of the population.